There we go. Hey, look at that. That's a great big hole right there. It's a bit of a mess. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today, we're back inside the house. The light I'm standing in is coming from our skylight, also known as a great big hole in the ceiling. She's down. She's real down. Floor's collapsing right here. We got to get into these walls. This part of the process is going to give me a clue as to what exactly was original to the house, because a lot of it just feels like it was extended on, but even still, I can't figure out what the original floor plan would have been. This extension was obviously never done correctly, but the biggest roof failure was where this extension, that extension, met what I'm gonna call the original house, and then after 20 years, you know, I got a problem. I do want to just dive in and do some exploratory surgery up in this joint. There's not a lot worth keeping, because if you see where those picture frames were, yeah, that's all smoke and dust and all that other stuff. So there we go. Wow, okay. So this is, I don't even know what to say about this. I'm already confused, gang. Originally, I was gonna say that this, I thought was an exterior wall, maybe? But maybe they added this wall? I really don't know. We are now on the other side of that wall, which means there's old plumbing fixtures here in this closet and linoleum. Like, could this have been the kitchen or something? Let's see what's behind this wall. There's studs there. What is... Okay. Okay. That was over here. What do I have here? What's going on? Not gonna lie, I am fascinated by this stuff. This house was built in the early 50s, and who knows what was added onto it since then. It was really the boonies out here. There's tar paper on the other side, then studs, which would have made this the exterior portion of the wall. I don't know what's going on, but I guess it's possible that this was once the exterior wall. So above this wall looks like gable end studs, like this was actually a closed off portion at some point. I do know under the house that this is a solid foundation wall, which it could be piers with a girder if this wasn't an original exterior wall. But so could this main portion of the house be the extension? That's insane, but it's possible, I guess. I could be standing in the entry door, and that could have been a kitchen, bathroom, bedroom? I don't know. The crawl spaces are also different depths in each part. This one's, 24 inches. This is like a foot, and then that's raised. So it could all have been built at different times. This is bizarre. Let's keep digging. Hi-ya! This can finally go. So I don't know if you guys can see that up there, but the forensic evidence is adding up. I see roof shingles, which means I'm standing in the extension, which means the house continued to get built that way. Fascinating. As crazy as this seems, we only have one roof rafter that is structurally compromised, and it's right here, and one ceiling joist. The issue is slightly larger in this area. So I'm gonna see if I can jam one of these 2x6s up in between all of those rafters. I'm working without a net. I do need a ladder though. Unfortunately, this is a little bit like being in the circus. Fire up the calliope and we'll see what we can do. I mean, if I fall, there's not that far to go, but probably a bunch of pointy stuff. Stay tuned. This might get interesting. Any raccoons? Anything up here that wants to be mad at me? Anybody? Hornets, wasps, creatures of all kinds? No? Okay, good. Cool. Thanks guys for not being there. But this ceiling joist, ergo this rafter, and the one next to it have dropped, call it 1.5 inches. So it could be worse. There's definitely collapsification evidence up here, as if we didn't already know that. Yeah, okay. All right, so here's the basic plans. Stands, that's the one that's falling down. That one's trying to fall down real good. And then these are all actually structurally sound. So I got this 2x6x10 spanning these ceiling joists and kind of under the roof rafters. And all of this is spanning from structural wall to structural wall. And then if we follow it, we land on this load-bearing, what was once an exterior wall. So all we're doing here is using this thing to catch the weight of these two that are relatively unsupported due to, well, all of that rot. So at this point, I'm just trying to get it all tied together. Theoretically, it just being there should cover the falling downitude. I think it'll do. So I actually feel surprisingly good about this. I've got another 2x4 at an angle here and the 2x6 over there. Everything is tied together. I feel plenty good about taking this wall out, which was the only thing kind of supporting anything over here. We can't just pull the wall down. We either have to cut all the wiring or we have to disconnect all the wiring. My guts are to, I don't know. It's expensive. It's very expensive. We'll get rid of all the cloth covered, but there is a fair amount of Romex that's been run, maybe to these extensions. And so if that stuff's good or was done right, maybe we can use it. Before we shatter this, let's go ahead and being a little delicate about this because I don't want to fall through the floor, mostly. Well, she's coming apart. I mean, she's been wanting to for 20 years now, so bird's nest in here, that's obviously rotten. Something's been crawling in and out of here for ages. You might be just about as curious as I am. Ice maker and pool. Pool. Quite nice. There we go. Out you go, pal. Now I got to get all of this out, including this water heater, which is potentially still full of water. And this is probably full of all sorts of different fecal matters. Well, let's just start starting. Well, we're getting in there. I don't know if you can hear that, but this thing weighs a ton. That's still full of water, so I gotta get some holes in it. I got no choice but to just let it drain. But that water's real gross too. Real gross. I do love these warning labels though. It does not leave much to the imagination. Poor little fella, dancing on fire. Stop, drop, and roll, baby. 8 pounds a gallon, gang. Okay, apparently we're not getting in that way. Oh boy. Oh boy. There she goes. Well, it's a bit of a mess. Now I gotta wrestle this thing out of here. I don't know why I only have one glove. This thing's either gonna be heavy or really heavy, depending on how much water we got out of it. So let's, oh, it's the really heavy version. Hey, look at that. That's a great big hole right there. Well, got her out the front door. She still had a little bit of water in there, you know, like that. So it's a 40-gallon tank, so calculus tells us that 8.6 pounds a gallon. That thing weighed 320 pounds in just water, because it was indeed pretty darn full, plus the tank itself. The other reason the roof may have failed there, this is a gas unit, and so it was vented straight through. So if the vent had started to fail, that's why the roof failed, dropping water directly on this, which probably weighed 350 to 400 pounds, sitting on slowly rotting wood for 20 years. Well, that'll make a big old hole. Big old hole looks something like this. Yeah, buddy. This could be way worse. It's not good, but it could be worse, you know. But it was reflected in the price we paid, you know. That's how you get a deal. You got to be willing to work.